Hi there, everybody. It's Slim Quiggle with Zen Pro Technologies. I just wanted to make a really quick video about something that I take support calls on all day. How to add a custom domain name to your Office 365 tenant. Now, my domain names were purchased through GoDaddy, so that's how the instructions will be demonstrated today. However, it's not that much different adding it through GoDaddy or Network Solutions or any other registrar. So I hope you guys enjoy. So the first thing that everybody's going to want to do is open up their browser, and we're going to go to portal.office.com. Once you're there, you're going to click on admin if it doesn't automatically open it. Now, once you're in here in your admin center, you're going to go down under setup and click on domains. This is where we're going to add the domain. At this point, you want to also log into GoDaddy and go to your domain manager. As you see, the domain that we're going to be adding here today is iabuse.com. And once you're on that domain, click Manage DNS. This will take you to the DNS records where we're going to be adding them. Back over in your admin center, you're going to click Add Domain and then type in the domain that you want to add. Microsoft will check it. And now if you have GoDaddy, it does give you the option to sign into GoDaddy, which is recommended because it'll then set up all of the records for you. Or you can add a text record instead. Now this first step is just to verify that you are actually a approved user and that you own this domain. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the text record. So as you'll see here, the text record first has a name, and that name is going to be the @ symbol if you're adding it to GoDaddy and many others, and then a value and a TTL, the time to live. We're going to copy the value, and we're going to add a DNS record to GoDaddy. That DNS record here is a text record. For the host, we're going to put in the @ symbol and the text value, what it gave us, and we're going to click Save. The TTL isn't so important, so you don't really have to worry about changing that. It's the time to live for each specific record. Once you've gotten that added, you can wait a minute or two and then click Verify. Depending on your domain manager, it may take a little bit of time to replicate over. As you see here, mine still has not replicated as it says it expected the record and it has not found the record yet. And it does tell you wait 5 to 10 minutes. Once that actually replicates and you've verified that you do own the DNS, it's going to ask you, do you want to add the DNS records for you? Do you want the system to add it for you, or do you want to add them myself? Of course, as always, adding the DNS records for you is much easier, but I'm going to go through and add them myself. Now, not every registrar is able to add them itself. GoDaddy is one of the only ones that partners with Microsoft. Now, for some domains, you are going to have the option to take over the name servers. I don't recommend doing that. Once you click the next button, it's going to ask you which records you all want to set up. I recommend setting them all up just in case you want to use those services in the future, even if you don't use them now. So now this is going to give you all of the records that you need to add. As you'll see, there's MX records, CNAME, text, and SRV records. Now you do have options to export it. You can download them into a CS file or into a zone file to manually export them into a DNS server if you run your own. But what we're going to be doing here today is we're going to be adding the records manually. So I'm going to copy the address or value for my MX record. Now the MX record is the mail exchanger record. That's what's going to determine where your mail flows when somebody sends mail to it. So for the priority, we're going to put 0 as that's what Microsoft Office 365 recommends. Now, with that MX record set up, once it replicates, all mail will start to go to Microsoft Office. That's probably one of the most important records. Next, you're going to want to add the CNAME records. I'm going to just do the first one here for Auto-Discover. So I'm going to copy the middle one because that's usually the hardest one to add. And for the record type, you're going to select CNAME. I'm going to put .2 in, and then also the host name. The host name here is Auto-Discover this time. It is not an @ symbol, and we're going to save that. Now you're going to replicate that step for each of these CNAMEs. For these demonstration purposes, I'm not going to do that. Next, you're going to add your TXT record. And this record is pretty important because it helps you avoid spam. SPF records are Sender Policy Framework, and what they enable you to do is specify which servers are allowed to send email as your domain. If you do not set this up, your domain can easily be spoofed. And then last but not least is the SRV records. Now these records are actually pretty difficult to set up, so I actually recommend that you put your windows up side by side if possible to be able to edit this properly. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to put it up side by side, and we're just going to go back and forth. And the main reason for doing that is because these SRV records are a lot more complicated to add. They have a lot more fields within them. So we're going to select SRV, and you'll see the service is _SIP for the first one. The protocol is _TLS. The name is going to be the @ symbol, and that just tells it to reference the above domain. For the target, we're going to copy that on out, and that's the sipdir.online.link.com. And for the priority, we're going to put 100 as referenced over here. For the weight, we're going to put 1, and the port is 443. TTL, I'm going to leave it 1 hour. So that's how you set up the records there. Once you're done setting up the records, you're going to click Verify. Now, once propagation has taken effect, this will notice all of the records as long as they've been set up correctly. As you can see here, it does notice the MX record. It does notice my auto-discover record, but it does not recognize the other records that I have not yet added. Now, again, like I said, I'm not going to add these now for length purposes, but it also does see my text record and my SRV record, and not the one that I didn't add. At this point, you can click Finish, and it'll say Setup Complete under your domain now. Now, mine does still say Setup in Progress, but it's because I didn't complete all of those records. Now, to be able to start using that domain, you now need to go to your users, and you need to select a user, and then we're going to edit the username/email. For the alias, you're going to drop that down and select the new domain name and type in the alias you wish to use. Now, you can either leave that there and it can be a secondary email address for the user, or you can set it as the primary address, and that's now what the user will use to log in. You click Save, and then those changes are saved for you. All right, and that's all you got to do to add a custom domain name to your Office 365 tenant. If you like what you saw, please subscribe below, leave some comments in the feedback. I can use all the love you can give me.